Ministry of Defence insider is about to talk publicly about the secret world of UFO sightings. Nick Pope spent 4 years as the MOD's UFO watcher. His book about his experiences, Open Skies, Closed Minds, is published next month. And I'll be speaking to Nick Pope in his first television interview in just a moment. But first, we've asked an actor to read some excerpts from his book.
Until 1991, I was generally sceptical about the paranormal. I didn't believe in UFOs, and anyway, paranormal experiences only happened to weirdos, didn't they? My conversion was a slow one, but no less extraordinary for that. It is that some UFO sightings are probably extraterrestrial in origin. It is not that I've gone mad, not that I've made a blind leap of faith, but the conclusion I have drawn is the only one borne out by the evidence. What did happen in Rendlesham Forest in Suffolk? There have been some quite extraordinary attempts to explain away the events. In 1980, 2 security patrolmen on their tour of Woodbridge Air Base saw bright lights in the forest. The object was no aircraft. They encountered a metallic, triangular craft unlike anything they'd ever seen before. I believe the Ministry of Defence squandered a major opportunity by not investigating the incident in detail at the time. The trail has now gone cold. Ufocal is the name given to a place where more UFO events than chance should allow seem to occur. Bonnybridge in Scotland has a good claim to this title. Some 8,000 reports were made by local inhabitants. It is a classic example of the way the reporting system fails, that only 2 or 3 of these ever reached my desk.
My husband and I were going to bed one Saturday evening, and we happened to look out the window, out our bedroom window, which is this one up here, and saw this really bright light in the sky. And I thought we decided to film it, so I picked up my cine camera and started filming. And what I filmed, it was really scary. It was so much so that I hid behind my curtain. And I thought, well, if I can see them up there, they can see me.
What sort of people do submit UFO reports? Most of them, and this is what made their stories so convincing for me, came tentatively, embarrassed, and sorry for taking up my time.
My wife and I were camping in Dorset, and in the night I got up to go to the toilet. It was 5 to 3, and I went back to the tent. I noticed some lights in the sky. I called my wife out to have a look. The next moment we were inside the tent, and all I can recall is being in a white circular room with some tall and short figures dressed in white. I checked my watch again, and it was 25 to 6. I have no explanation of what happened at 2 hours 35 minutes. We wrote to the Ministry of Defence, and Nick Pope replied, asking for further information.
I became the butt of MOD humour when I was the UFO desk officer, but could it be that somewhere within the cavernous bowels of the main building there lurk more X-Files? If so, where is this material? Who has it, and why are they keeping it under wraps? Why was it kept from me, when it could have been a crucial piece of the puzzle?
Nick Pope, what do you believe now that you didn't believe 5 years ago?
Well, I came into the job as a skeptic, but I was convinced by the sheer weight of evidence, the sightings, the radar evidence, all that sort of thing, that some of these things that we see in the sky and call UFOs are extraterrestrial in origin.
Extraterrestrial what? Craft with people inside them?
Well, craft of some sort, certainly. That's not to say they all are. Of course, most of them have conventional explanations, but after rigorous investigation, we find that 5 or 10% absolutely defy any conventional explanation, and these ones, yes, it does look as if they may be some sort of craft from elsewhere.
And what do you think is going on? What do you think these people and these craft are doing?
That's the difficult question. It's very difficult to say because although the evidence is convincing, it's often contradictory. Some people say that it bears the hallmarks of some sort of reconnaissance exercise. Certainly these sightings have been going on for many, many years, lots of reliable witnesses, many military personnel citing them, but yet no open, outright contact. So that does tend to suggest that they are trying to keep themselves hidden.
What was it about your own role in the Ministry of Defence that made you more certain that this was going on? Was there anything there that you found out that gave rise to your conviction that these craft and these extraterrestrial people existed?
Well, yes, of course. Working in the Ministry of Defence, I had access to all sorts of inside data, and when I was conducting my investigations, I would liaise with Royal Air Force officers, I could impound radar tapes, I could go and speak to witnesses, I could speak to the Royal Observatory at Greenwich, I could make all sorts of checks to try and get to the bottom of these sightings. Checks which really civilian UFO researchers were not able to make.
But if you believed this, of these reports that were coming out from the people you talked to, why did nobody else come out and say the same thing? Why are you the only defence official who's come out saying this?
Well, I think it's all to do with people's personal prejudices. You've only got to mention the phrase UFO, and a lot of people just switch off. They think this is not an issue that they wish to be associated with. But certainly over the years, the evidence is undeniable. I suspect there are more people...
Is it, you see, Mr. Pope? Because, I mean, the Ministry of Defence gave us a statement tonight saying, as far as we know, no one has ever established any defence significance in any UFO sighting, which, of course, is a particular point the Ministry of Defence would make. But nor has anyone, they say, provided evidence to make us believe that any alien craft has ever penetrated British airspace.
Well, I think it's absolutely clear that structured craft of unknown origin have and continue to penetrate the UK air defence region. This has happened on a number of occasions. We've had radar evidence. On some occasions, we've had aircraft scrambled. And it seems to me that although we can't absolutely say what these things are, but given that they are penetrating our air defences, we have to say there's a potential threat until we can say that there is no threat.
The trouble is nobody else believes this inside the ministry except you, according to the ministry.
That's a difficult one.
Give us an example. I mean, give us an example. Take one example of some event which, with your inside knowledge, you can persuade us, really was an unidentified flying object, something from outer space.
In March of 1993, we had a case where numerous RAF personnel and police officers reported a craft over Britain. It was seen by the Guard Patrol at RAF RAF Cosford. Then it was seen by the meteorological officer at RAF Shawbury. It was firing a beam of light down at the countryside. It was emitting a low hum. This was not some aircraft light seen from an unusual angle. This was a craft. It had got through our air defences, and that must be a matter of defence significance.
Why don't you go much further in your book, of course, than saying that you believe that these craft exist? You see, I believe there's a war going on, a one-sided war so secret we aren't even aware it's happening. If any of these incidents can be attributed to an alien presence, then that presence is carrying out crimes against humanity. What do you mean by that?
Well, certainly over the years there have been a number of cases of pilots who have been called upon to intercept UFOs. One of those was killed. That was in America in the late 40s. There was a pilot who disappeared after an encounter with a UFO that was recorded on air traffic control tapes. He closed on the craft. He said, this craft is right on top of me and it's not an aircraft. Then the plane crashed.
And very briefly, do you think there's some kind of, I mean, you allude in many parts of your book to a sort of cover-up going on, that the Ministry of Defence is hiding information?
Not in Britain. I think the problem's the opposite. We know too little.